There we go. Now we're going. All right. Thank you so much for joining us here on our Legal Marketing Trends Report launch, our deep dive. This is kind of our flagship resource. We put a ton of time and energy and effort into this. This is the third year that we have done it. So, really love the participation that we've gotten from everybody who's filled out the survey. Big shout out to our vendor partners and friends who sponsored this. I know I'm going to miss everybody, so let me look real quick. I've got a hard copy here. We will have hard copies available soon, but just a quick shout out to Back Office Betties, Get Staffed Up, Lawmatics, $1 Million Solution, Hiring and Empowering, CPN Legal, Paula Black, On Track Coaching, Brent Baltzer Marketing, Law KPIs, and Assembly Neos for helping us make this trends report as great as it can possibly be. Highly encourage you to go check out those people who helped us out with this report. They really do have a lot of resources to help your law firm outside of marketing, whether it's staffing or HR, admin management, data reporting, all that kind of stuff, everything that your law firm could ever need with a lot of the partners here. Like I said, thank you to Mamie in the chat. We've got a bunch of our team members actually tuning into this as well, because this is the first time a lot of them have heard this data as well. So, go ahead and throw in where you're from, what your area of law you practice, and then also just at any point, let us know what questions you have, what thoughts you have about the data, whether you agree, disagree, feel differently, whatever the case might be. So we're going to go ahead and dive in to a quick one here. First piece of data that I wanted to share with you was that 91% of law firms saw some growth in 2023. The report goes into a little bit more detail as to what percentage of growth that was, but 91% of firms reported that they saw some amount of growth, some increased revenue over the course of 2023, which is really great. We want to see the legal world, and especially solo and small firms. That's who filled out this report. Solo and small firms, 91% saw growth. So we love to see that, and really good to see that number there. This one I want to spend a little bit of time on. 44% of law firms feel as though they lose business because prospects didn't realize that the firm could help them. We've asked this question for a couple of years now, and some of the other responses were, their competitors had better marketing, or their competitors had more experience, or the competitors charged lower rates. But this was the far and away the largest response of those choices. And it's firms who believed that prospects went with another firm because they didn't realize that firm could have actually helped them in the first place. And what kind of opportunity that this creates is within your marketing and how you are messaging, and honestly, and just how you're staying top of mind. A lot of times, people become leads, they fill out consultation requests, whatever it is, and then they just don't ever hear anything back from that law firm until it's time to have their consultation. And by that time, maybe they've already moved on, and they don't ever end up showing up, whatever the case is. That's why it's so important to stay top of mind, but also use your marketing to educate your audience, and not just constantly throwing out your phone number, not just being super vague about, what it is and how you help. One of the biggest mistakes that I see a lot of law firms making is, the front page of their website will just be super vague, like justice or we fight for you. Cool. What does that even mean? That could mean a ton of different things, especially because a lot of people, if they've never had to interact with a lawyer before, they don't know the lingo. They don't know that, they may already be in the right place. Somebody, who's maybe in a car accident and they're not hurt, but they want to sue the other person in the accident because their car got totaled. Well, is that personal injuries? People might not know. People don't know what torts are. People don't know what a lot of these, terms are. So it's really important for your messaging and the marketing and the content that you create to really do a good job of explaining in the most basic way possible what it is you do and all of the ways that you help them. And so this is a number that can absolutely shrink if you are in this boat and you feel like you lose out because people didn't realize that you could actually help them. It's a really simple fix. And it's just making sure that you're creating content and generating educational, and informational content that makes sure that people think of you first and also understand what it is that you do. So another big one, and this is a question that we get a lot, honestly. 48% of solo small law firms are spending less than 10% of their revenue on marketing. We get this question quite often in terms of like, well, how much money should I be spending on marketing? And we've obviously the answer is it depends, especially depends on your market size. If you're in a bigger city, you probably want to be spending more because you have more competition. But even in a smaller market where you only have a couple of other lawyers who do what you do, a good baseline, a really good starting point is 10%, but nearly half of law firms are spending less than that. And so when you think about, and this is not even including payroll, this question specified, payroll aside for any like marketing person that you have hired in your office. And nearly half of law firms are spending less than 10%. And so, but when you look at, all the things that you can do to market your firm, this stuff can add up pretty quick, right? Especially if you're in a bigger market and you're trying to run Google ads or you're trying to rank, whatever that is, good rankings and good Google ads will run you at minimum $1,000 a month. But the bigger your market, the bigger, the more competition you have, you could easily spend $5,000 to $10,000 a month on that. And there are a ton of law firms that do that. So that adds up pretty quickly. But then, maybe you want to look at, reviews. Maybe you want to sponsor some local events. Maybe you're trying to get someone to produce videos or write content, blogs, and manage your social media for you. And all that stuff adds up. And so, even if you're a $2 million firm and your annual marketing budget is 20,000, no, 200,000. I'm so bad at math. I think it's 200,000. $200,000 annual marketing budget, on a month-to-month basis, like it can still add up pretty quickly. So, don't be afraid to invest in your marketing, but so many firms, and I get it, risk mitigation, all that kind of stuff. But, if your goal is to grow, and we'll actually look at what law firms specified their goals were. But if your goal is to grow or continue to bring in business, you do have to invest in marketing that actually works. And, if you followed us for any amount of time, we have got opinions on that, but you can definitely have marketing strategies and invest in things that bring in a return that ultimately doesn't hurt your wallet and make it feel like you're spending a ton of money, because the new clients that you're bringing in more than pays for the marketing that you invested in. But like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about some of those goals. And honestly, right here. So these next two data points are pretty important. So 72% of law firms indicated that they needed better quality leads rather than just more leads. And to me, that's a really important distinction, because I think so many marketing people, so many marketing companies, they focus really heavily on more leads. We're going to make your phone ring off the hook. We're going to have people barging down your door, whatever the case is. It's all about more leads, more leads, more leads. We're going to get this many for you. And I think a lot of times, especially when you're shopping for a marketing vendor or whatever the case may be, you get conditioned to thinking that that's kind of the only option. But what's encouraging is that 72% of these law firms said that they would prefer to have better quality leads rather than more leads. And there is a way to do that with your marketing. One of the things that I hear a lot, and when I go to bar conferences or whatever, lawyers will tell you, oh God, I don't need any more marketing. I have too much business. I have more business than I can handle. And maybe you've said something like that, on your end. And the truth is that you still need marketing. You just need to market a little bit differently. You don't need to market to try to bring everyone to your firm, but instead you want to kind of flip that script. Your marketing should repel people as well. Your marketing should disqualify people just as it would qualify people. And so, if you're generating, just as a base example, if you're generating 10 leads a week and that's a good number for you, but you find that 8 of those leads aren't what you want to do. They're not qualified. And for whatever reason, maybe they don't want to pay your rates. Maybe they're bringing a legal issue to you that you either don't handle or you don't like to handle. You don't have to necessarily invest in marketing that brings in 20 leads a week so that you can pick out the qualified people that way. You can still invest in marketing that brings in 10 leads a week, but instead of only 2 being qualified, now you have maybe 8 that are qualified, 9 that are qualified, maybe all 10 are qualified. And so there are ways to do that. I can tell you how later on, but, and if you followed us, you know what I'm going to say. But the idea that you just need to constantly be generating leads and more leads and having your phone ring off the hook, it's not necessary. And for a lot of small firms, especially when you're wearing many different hats, you only have a certain amount of time to get everything done. More leads is definitely not going to be the answer, but having better quality leads is going to be a really good solution. And so kind of to that point, on the other side of this, 43% of law firms told us that their goal for 2024 was to get more preferred case types rather than more leads. And so more preferred case types, more quality clients, kind of synonymous, in our mind. More quality clients could mean multiple things, right? Like I said, people who aren't going to balk at your rates, people who are going to come to you with the work that you actually want to do. And so preferred case types is, at that point, right? You want to be known for a specific type of, legal work. Maybe you are a family lawyer, but you hate doing divorces. Well, you don't have to give up family law. You don't have to go switch practice areas just because you don't like doing divorces. Maybe you genuinely prefer to handle adoptions and you want to be known as the adoption lawyer in your city. You can do that. And 43% of law firms indicated that that was their goal, to really be known for something, to bring in a very specific type of case and really specialize in that. And that's important. We've talked a lot before about the desire for consumers to want to work with the expert. Think about it in your own life, right? We use the heart surgeon example a lot. If you've got to get heart surgery, you're not just going to shop around and find the cheapest heart surgeon or a general practitioner. At least I hope not, right? You're going to go find your research and you're going to find this heart specialist that you feel like is the best at their job and can do the best job for you. The same works with people in the way they search for lawyers, right? They want to find the lawyer who demonstrates that they are the expert in their field and do the thing that they need done the best. And so in my example, someone who is ready to adopt a child, they are going to be looking for the lawyer who, specializes in adoptions. And I get with bar rules, you can't call yourself an expert, you can't call yourself a specialist, without certain certifications, but you don't have to do that. Your content and the way that you position yourself in your messaging can demonstrate and communicate to people that that is your expertise. And so that's how, not only is that how, consumers pick their lawyers, but that is in turn how you can get more of those preferred case types. It's all about your positioning and your branding and how you are messaging and creating the content around who you want your firm to be. So moving on here, just got a couple of more left. 43% of law firms, a lot of these are like in the 40s. It was really weird how this turned out. But 43% of law firms indicated that networking provided the best marketing ROI for their firm. And that's important. And you can go ahead and read ahead on the second part of that line, but I want to stop here first. Marketing is absolutely or networking is absolutely a marketing exercise. And it's the foundation. It is the most important marketing activity that you can do, because those relationships that you develop, whether it's with other lawyers at a bar event or other businesses in your market who don't do what you do, but there's synergy there, with accountants or counselors or whatever the case is, those people are going to know you the best and provide some of the best returns for you in terms of referral generation. However, that marketing doesn't work because, that marketing only works because the extra marketing that you do after the fact, right? So like, for what I mean by that is, if you're going to networking events and you're just collecting business cards, and then maybe you send them an email like, hey, it's good to meet you at the conference or whatever, fine, sure. But then if you don't do anything after that, what good is it doing for you? You can't just sit around and expect people to remember you. That's just not how it works. There's so much, competing for our attention these days that it's not going to happen. But the people you meet networking, you plug them into your marketing system. You stay top of mind with them. It doesn't matter how many other people they know. It's all about who they heard from most recently, almost all of the time. And so that's why we say a lot of the times that the best cases go to the best marketers, because it's not truly about who deserves it most. It's about who got in front of that person the most recently, who made the most lasting impact, who is top of mind in that person's head in that moment that a need arises. And so 43% said that networking was, provided the best ROI for their firm. For what it's worth, they said content marketing was the second best. Just, a little plug for us and more of what I'll explain later on. But the one thing that was interesting to me about this is that, after we asked this question, we then asked, how much networking do you do? And we noticed that from 2022 to 2023, the amount of networking activities decreased. And this was both on a large scale, whether it's like I said, bar meetings, Chamber of Commerce, BNI, like large scale networking, or more one-on-one intimate networking, one-on-one meetings, coffee dates, whatever it is. Both of those activities decreased from 2022 to 2023. So it's really strange. There's a weird dichotomy where it's like you have the majority of law firms saying that this is the most important, this is the best ROI I get from my marketing activities. And then at the same time, so many of them are doing it less than what they did. And, so again, there's so many different things that you can look at in your own situation, right? We know that far and away, networking has a great ROI. So if you're not doing enough of it, that's something that you can do. Those are some action steps that you can take to, get some networking on your calendar, start, rekindle some of those relationships you had in the past, and, make sure that there are things that you can do to start making sure that those referrals get generated. The last statistic that I have for you here, and then we can open it up to questions. 42% of law firms either aren't blogging, they're not sending email newsletters, they're not having video content. And what's wild about this stat to me is that this stat solves all of the problems, especially that I talked about early on, and yes, it's convenient that we're a content marketing company, but that's honestly not even the reason why this is so powerful to me. It's very coincidental, but it does work out for us because we can help solve these problems. But your blog content, your email newsletter content, your video content goes back to what I was talking about, right? That's what helps drive quality leads. That's what helps drive more preferred case types, because that's what's going to help demonstrate your expertise and what you want to be known for. And so in each of these fields, roughly 42% of law firms aren't blogging. Roughly 42% of law firms aren't sending email newsletters, and roughly 42% are not sending video content. And so if you're looking for a way to stand out from your competitors, your closest competitors, there's a really good chance they're not doing one of these things. And it's a really good way to stay top of mind. I can give you even an example. We had a client actually reach out to us today, and the first email newsletter that they sent out, they had a past client come back and re-up for, repeat business because of the blog that they found in that email newsletter. They clicked through and they realized, hey, I need this lawyer to take care of this for me. May have happened eventually, or that past client could have gone to another lawyer. You never know, but it's business that you get, that you earned, that was already in your system. And we talk about this a lot. There's thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars in business that can be yours, that's just sitting in your contact list, that so many law firms just don't capitalize and that they lose out on because they just don't do a good job of staying in touch and making it obvious of who they are and how they help. So, in kind of going back through this, we'll talk about how all this is connected, right? Your law firm loses business because prospects didn't realize that your firm could help them. Your law firm wants better quality leads rather than more leads. Your law firm wants more preferred case types rather than more leads, right? Those problems can be solved if you just blogged and sent email newsletters and had video content, had a social media presence, whatever the case is. And it's not rocket science. And it's not, honestly, a gigantic investment. You don't have to spend $10,000 a month to make all of this happen. But the referrals that you generate just from doing these three things can bring in much more revenue. It allows you to raise your rates, which is a completely different conversation altogether. And it allows you to enjoy your job more. And that's one of those intangible benefits that I think a lot of people, don't think about enough, right? If you're really able to focus on doing exactly what you enjoy doing, it makes your job so much more enjoyable. You talk about the genius zone, that 4-quadrant concept where it's, your things you're good at and you enjoy, things you're good at but you don't enjoy, things that you're not good at but you still like, and then things you hate and you're bad at, right? You want to be in that zone of things you're good at and things you enjoy. And if your marketing helps bring in your preferred case types, you enjoy being a lawyer, hopefully, and you enjoy doing a specific type of legal work, you're accomplishing so many of your goals and making your life better along the way. So, if any of you out there are really on the fence about investing in your marketing, start with your content. Well, start networking first. If you're not networking, do that. But then make sure that you have an ongoing content strategy to stay top of mind with those people you network, with your current and past clients, with other people, in your system, other leads, other prospects, whatever the case is. Make sure that you're staying top of mind and that content is explaining exactly who you are and how you help. And that's how you win more of that consistent business. That's how you stand out from your competitors. That's how you give people that assurance that you're the expert that they really need to be working with. So, want to open it up for questions. At the same time, I want to encourage all of you, go to that link right there, spotlightbranding.com/trends report 2024. We'll also throw it right here in the chat and so that you can click through to it, download the copy. Look, this is a big resource, all right? 75 pages just of all kinds of data that we sourced from thousands of lawyers across the country, not just from our list, but through the partners and sponsors that I mentioned before. Just so much data. I mean, look, I'll show you again. All right, look, all of this data right here, and it's really informative. Really does help you guys out in terms of how other law firms are operating their practices, how they feel about their finances, but really how they feel about their marketing, what other firms are doing with their marketing, other strategies they're employing, everything. What we covered today really only scratches the surface as to what is in this gigantic report. And like I said, it's the third year we've done this. It is, one of the best things that I think any marketing company does. And I'm really proud to be a part of it. And so, I'll stick around a little bit if anyone has any questions about any of the data. If not, that's fine too. Go download the report, read it, have everybody in your office read it, and come back at me with the questions. Fanny here has a question. What is the social media platforms lawyers post the most on? So we did look at that as well. Facebook's still the leader in the Clubhouse. I think it was around 80%. LinkedIn also up there. The one platform that we saw the biggest growth on from 2022 to 2023 was Instagram, actually. TikTok kind of plateaued a little bit, from 21 to 22, TikTok had a really big jump. From 22 to 23, we saw a big jump in Instagram usage. And we can kind of see that even from our own experience. We've had a lot more engagement take place over the last 12 months on our Instagram page. So go follow us at Spotlight Lawyer if you haven't already. Another question, is video going to take over talking about social media content in terms of, I guess you're talking about, just kind of the medium. Yes, things are still trending more towards video content. And so, blogging is still very important, that there's still a ton of value in that. But especially as more and more people are, using Instagram, TikTok's still very important. These platforms are also, talking about prioritizing video content even more. Video is going to be have a very important role in that. And so even just using video FAQs, or even if you're just pulling out your phone and answering questions, like, you don't necessarily need high production value. You can have, just a quick short social media series, you answering a common question. And that's what's going to do really well on social. Another one, where can law firms stand out? What marketing has the biggest opportunity based on this data? I still truly believe that an email newsletter is going to give you some of the highest ROI. It's easy. It is super impactful. You don't have to put a ton of bells and whistles on it. You just need to send it consistently. And you just have to pair it with content, like I said, that informs and educates, whether that's a blog article or a video, and just making sure that you're sending that consistently. And to your I gave that example earlier. I've also been told by another client that just like every time he sends out his email newsletter, he gets multiple referrals coming in, multiple requests for repeat business, and it's just something that most law firms either aren't doing at all or they're not doing very well. Other question. Do you think marketing has changed from last year with all the new trends on social media? It hasn't changed a ton in terms of like, oh, here's this new thing that everybody's doing. I think, kind of to my last point, the video is still continuing to become more and more important, but email is still a really great tool. Blogging still has a ton of value. And honestly, and the big takeaway from this, we were on a webinar earlier this week and talking about, consumer behaviors and everything. And one of the things that we talked about was this new study that came out where word of mouth, people aren't just blindly trusting each other anymore. People aren't just saying, hey, you should go work with this lawyer. They'll take that information, they'll Google your name, and so talk about SEO. The only SEO you need is to make sure that you show up when you Google your name. But they're going to check out your website. They're going to check out your social media profiles, and they're going to do their due diligence. And so word of mouth isn't just the slam dunk guarantee that it once was. You have to have this supporting material in order to, make those referrals convert. Do you have any insight into AI? AI is great. Use it. Don't be afraid of it. Podcast with or without video. Just start a podcast. All right. Video can come later, but absolutely starting a podcast is where you should go. I still wholly believe that a podcast is a really good marketing tool for lawyers in multiple ways. Not only is it a good opportunity for you to showcase your expertise, but it is a good way for you to nurture referrals, honestly. Like if you want to do an interview show, have people in your referral network come on and talk about what they do and how they help. because guess what's going to happen? They're going to share that episode with their network, and that's going to get you more exposure and get people checking you out and listening more. And so there's a lot of good things that can come with that. What is my experience or recommendations on staffing people abroad? They're great. All right. Especially, check out Get Staffed Up. Honestly, they are one of the people who sponsored this report. The overseas talent is a really good alternative especially for smaller firms who may feel like they can't fully afford someone in-house, or they just kind of need a little extra help, but can't, for whatever reason, bring that in-house, whether it's marketing, front desk, reception related stuff, all of that, like, it is a really good way to go. How long should podcasts last for a lawyer? I wouldn't go more than 30 minutes. Like, you're not Joe Rogan. You don't need to do 3-hour episodes, but 20 to 30 minutes is a really good, barrier there to get everything you need off your chest. Especially like if you're in the way that I compare it to is a lot of lawyers want to cram everything they possibly can into a blog article. And it's not really the place for that. A podcast is a great place for that. You can get deep into the weeds. You can really, get gritty and explore whatever topic that you're doing. 20 to 30 minutes is a really good time frame for that. One more. Do you think it is really effective to do video content? Does it work for legal? Absolutely, it does. Honestly, there's two benefits to me for that. One, it's easy way to generate a bunch of content, and you can build out a really good, effective video library if you're answering some frequently asked questions. The other thing for me is that it breaks down a lot of barriers that people will have against lawyers, right? You're probably aware of this. Lawyers are not very trusted. They are not the most popular people in the professional world. And so you have to work a little bit harder to gain that trust and to, make sure that people feel comfortable around you. And video actually does a really good job of doing that. They get to see your face, they get to hear your voice, see your mannerisms, and feel like they've gotten to meet you before actually meeting you. And I mean, like, I was the same way. Like, before I started working with lawyers almost 10 years ago, I thought they were all scary. I thought they were all mean. And then now that I've worked with hundreds of them, that is absolutely not the case for 99% of them. Right? There were a couple along the way that I don't care to ever meet again. But the vast majority, you're just normal people. And people need to understand that. And video is a great way to do that. So that seems like that's all the questions. I appreciate all of that in the chat. Please go download the 2024 Legal Marketing Trends Report. I really do appreciate all of you being here. For those of you who watch the recording later on as well, thank you so much for checking it out. And I really do appreciate it. Thanks so much.